Well, g'day, Max here again. Welcome back to the shop. Well, this will be episode 2 in the dirt bike suspension pivot link repair. So we'll head over to the Bridgeport and we'll bore out the other hole, and then we'll be over to the lathe and machine up a stainless steel sleeve. Then we'll press it all together. So we'll head over to the mill and crack on. Some time ago I picked up this little boring bar set of insert bars for my boring head, and this is the one we've just used. But as far as Chinese made tooling goes, these actually, well, so far, it was only aluminium, yes, and, they seem to have worked quite well. So we're going to try this one here now to do this bore here. So we're just going to take a cleaning cut through this and see what we're looking at, and we'll probably put a thin walled stainless steel sleeve through it. And of course this one came out okay. We just have to dress up the outside a bit. We'll just do that with a sanding disc. But, yeah, for a Chinese made tool it worked quite well, so it's not a path I usually like to go down, but sometimes we have no option over here in Australia, and we've got to use what we can get. Okay, we're just on our second bore here, so there's not much really we can indicate off for this bore, so we're just going by eyeball and feel, just centralising the cutter into the, trying to pick a spot where we can and then just slowly bringing the cutter out, just listening to where it's scraping and adjusting the table accordingly. Then we'll run a cut through at that, lock the table, we'll run a cut through at that and see how we're looking. Let's put a little bit of a cut on. Okay. So we're in gear. Just hand feeding it. Have a look and see how we're travelling. It's looking pretty even, that, so I think we'll continue on. I might just slow it down a little bit. Bring it down to about 800 revs. So we've taken a light clean-up cut, and I think we're running pretty true to the bore. Now we have these two big gouge marks in there, and that's where the pin had worn through the bearing and the bearing failed. So we'll keep going. We'll take another 2mm off the entire diameter. That will give us a 1mm thick wall thickness sleeve. So we'll make up, as we don't want to go too much and take too much of the meat, putting away from the strength of the part. So we'll take another, 2mm off the diameter, and we'll see how we're looking. if we look inside the bore, we've got these two little marks there. I'm a bit reluctant to keep going too far to get them out, as we don't want to lose any of the integral strength of the part. So I think we'll leave them in. The sleeve will take care of that. That'll give us a 1.5mm wall thickness sleeve, and that should be good. We have a bit of 316 stainless chucked up here in the lathe, and this is the material we're going to use to make the bush for this bore here to suit this bearing. Right, we'll get a bore gauge and we'll get a proper size on this. So we'll mark up our bearing. This is this Chinese all balls bearing. This nominal size is 27mm, but so we got 1.565, or half a thou up on 1.565. We go to the other end of the bearing, 1.565, so we've got half a thou taper. We'll go 90 degrees, 1.565, and the other end of the bearing, 1.566. We're just under, yeah. So she's a bit of a carrot shape. What do you expect? So we're just going to go for a size for size fit on here. We'll go 1.565. And then we'll have a bit of extra crush on the OD of the sleeve, and that'll give the bearing a tad more crush. But size for size will be fine for the idea of this. So measure our hole. That's cutting slightly larger to the rear than the front. We'll use our rear measurement. So we're coming up 32, 33 thou to come off it. 32 thou. Okay, so we'll split that, we'll take 16 and see how we're travelling. Feel the chips packing up at the end of the hole. Okay, so where are we at? Okay, so we're bang on 1.565 at the rear of the hole. Now, we said we were turning a slight taper on this bore for some reason. Let's check the front. There's about a thou taper in that. Okay, we can just polish that out, that's no biggie. So we'll finish off our OD now and part it off. We're not too far away there, so that's good. Ooh, it's stuck. Okay, that's got it. It was just the first ½ inch of the hole was that ½ a thou smaller. So no, she's good now. So as we said, now we'll take the OD down to size. Okay, that gives us 60 thou to come off. So I do a 40 thou cut first, now it should just give us 20 thou for a final cut. Alright, Dopey cameraman forgot to press record before I took that last cut. So we have ½ a thou. We're ½ a thou up on size. So I'll just give that a little polish off. Bit of heat in that, so we'll cool it. We only want 1 thou interference, we don't want to go any more as it's such a thin walled sleeve. We don't want to distort it. Okay, we're smack on there, so we have 1 thou interference between our bore and our part and the sleeve. So, there's a thing I will always do with a bush, and it's to put the first 1 or 2 millimeters, depends on the diameter of the bush, it's just cut in, so it's a size for size fit for the hole. And it's just a lead, so the bush will start square in the hole. So all it takes, just a little register there. When we put the bush in the hole, it will sit square. Okay, so I'll get a parting tool in and we'll part this one off. So we're looking for 40 millimeters. That's it. we have our sleeve, so we'll just, there we are, turn him around, we'll just deburr the other side and press it together. Okay, we'll get this lot assembled up. So we've cleaned everything with some primer. We're just going to use a little bit of 680 on it just to be sure. We have our bearing. There's a flat side and a rounded side, so I generally will put the rounded side in first. Oh, we missed it. So our tool then presses down on the flat side, so we have the stepped tool. So this ensures we don't damage the bearing when we're pressing it in. Get everything square. Everything looks good. I'll just gently press her in. It's a nice tight fit, that. So we're just got to go a fraction more, just so we get it in the middle. Okay, we'll give that a clean off. Just a hair more. Okay, we've got 4.8. And 4.8. We start the bearing square. Yeah, we just want to go in just enough distance for one seal. We'll have a look at that. Yeah. To make sure we put this in the right way around, because we've got our little register on the end there, so the bush starts square. Visual eyeball, all looking good. Just going in nice and firm, that is. Okay. Looking like we've just got a fraction more to go. I think we're there. Make sure the pivot pin, okay, that still goes through. More. Fraction more. That's it, we're there. Okay, well, we had a win. We got all the bearings and seals pushed in. Our sleeve went in great, nice and tight, and the little needle roller went in perfect. So all that's left now is these sleeves that the bearings run on. They all push into their respective locations. And then there's these top hat washers. These are the seal runners. It's also where the other parts clamp up to it. And they go in like so. Of course, he's going to have to pre-pack this with grease before he puts it together on the bike. Needle roller wanting to escape. Back in there. And there we have our completed part. So these parts here clamp up, and it still allows the movement there for these parts here. So it's basically like a bit of a rocker arm for the suspension on his dirt bike. So good result, and he can go and play in the mud again.